Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. This time, we're looking into deepfakes.
Deepfakes.
And you know those videos you see online where it looks like someone is saying or doing something that they never actually did?
Yeah.
And we've got a ton of research and articles here, and honestly, it's
pretty wild what's going on.
yeah, it's a little unnerving.
Yeah, what's fascinating to me is it goes way beyond, just fake news or something like that.
Right.
Deepfakes have the potential to really erode trust in like everything we see and hear. And that's a huge implication, obviously. Especially when you think about the world of politics.
Yeah. How can like a fake video change how we perceive reality?
Well, think about it. We're just bombarded with information constantly.
Right.
Especially online. And it's already hard to tell what's real and what's not.
For sure.
But deepfakes add like a whole other layer.
Yeah.
Because they exploit our natural tendency to just believe what we see with our own eyes.
So you're saying that, like, even if I know a video is fake, it still kind of messes with me.
It's like a crack in the foundation of trust. You start to question everything, like videos, recordings, even eyewitness accounts.
Wow.
And, that has huge implications when you think about elections or public policy debates.
For sure. I mean, you can easily see how people would use this to manipulate people or even incite violence.
Absolutely.
But before we get into all of that, how are these things even made?
Right.
I've heard that they use something called GANs.
Yeah. GAN stands for Generative Adversarial Networks.
Okay.
It's basically a type of AI that's super powerful. Just imagine like two algorithms battling it out. One is trying to create a fake, the other one's trying to detect it. And through that process, the AI actually learns to create these fakes that are like increasingly difficult to distinguish from real content.
So it's like getting better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just like creating someone's face.
Okay.
The AI can analyze their voice, their mannerisms.
Wow.
Even like really subtle facial expressions. And the result is something that's incredibly convincing.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
It is a little scary. I know deepfakes kind of started out as this internet meme or whatever, but it seems like they've kind of moved into more dangerous territory now.
Yeah, one of the early examples that I think really highlighted the potential dangers was that deepfake of Obama.
Oh, yeah.
That Jordan Peele made.
The one where he's like calling Trump a dipst?
Yeah, back in 2018.
I remember that.
Remember that one?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it was really meant to be a warning.
Right, to show people what this is capable of.
Exactly. At the time, it was shocking, but looking back on it, now it almost feels quaint.
Yeah.
Like a little preview of what was to come.
Right.
And then fast forward to like the 2020 U.S. elections and concerns about deepfakes, influencing voters was a huge deal.
Yeah, I can imagine like a deepfake going viral and just like completely swaying public opinion. And then even if it's debunked later, it's too late.
The damage is done.
Yeah.
And that's what's so insidious about them. They don't just create fake news. They undermine trust in all news. It just becomes harder and harder to know what to believe.
Right. What's real and what's been manipulated.
Yeah.
So we've got this technology that can create these super realistic fakes, and people are using it to spread misinformation and just sow distrust.
Yeah.
What does that even mean for like us, just the everyday consumer of information?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right.
And I don't think there's an easy answer.
Yeah.
But I think one thing is for sure, we can't just be passive anymore. We need to be more discerning, more critical, more aware of the fact that this is happening.
I'm starting to understand the scope of the problem here, but can you give me some examples of like what this looks like in the real world?
Absolutely. Like, are there cases of deepfakes being used in politics that have had real consequences?
Yeah.
Let's start with the 2020 Indian elections.
Okay.
There was this deepfake video going around of an opposition leader, and they made it seem like he was saying all these derogatory things about this sensitive religious issue.
That's just playing with fire.
Yeah. So the video went viral.
Yeah, of course.
And even though it was debunked really quickly, it sparked riots.
Really?
People were outraged by what they thought they saw and heard.
Wow.
And it's just a stark reminder of how easily misinformation, especially in this form, can inflame tensions and lead to real-world violence.
Yeah. It's chilling to think about that a fake video could do that.
It is.
It's crazy to think that a fake video could actually lead to riots.
Yeah, it's really scary.
And it's not just in India, right?
No, not at all. One that really stood out to me was the 2019 Nigerian presidential election.
Okay.
Someone created this deepfake claiming that the president had died.
Oh, wow.
And had been replaced by a body double.
Wait, a body double? That's like something out of a movie.
I know, right? It was so bizarre.
What was the point of that?
It seems like it was just to create chaos,
Yeah.
Undermine people's trust in the government.
Right.
Thankfully, it didn't really work.
Okay.
But it just shows you the lengths that some people will go to manipulate public opinion with these tools.
Yeah, and I feel like we saw this in the U.S. too.
Oh, absolutely.
In 2020.
Yeah, there were deepfakes targeting both Trump and Biden.
Right.
Some were just comedic, poking fun at their policies.
Right.
But others were more insidious. They were designed to spread misinformation, try to sway voters.
Yeah, this isn't just a left or right wing thing. This is like...
It affects everyone. It's a threat to democracy itself.
Okay, so we've got this really powerful technology. People are using it to create these realistic fakes. And it's already causing problems, like real problems.
Yeah.
Is there anything that can be done to stop it?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a tough one.
I mean, can deep fakes be stopped?
Well, it's kind of constant game of cat and mouse, Like as soon as researchers figure out a way to detect them,
right,
the people creating them,
they
just find new ways to get around it.
So it's like it's a technological arms race.
Yeah. So is this just a hopeless situation?
Well, I wouldn't say it's hopeless.
Okay.
It's definitely challenging.
Yeah.
But there are some promising developments.
Like what?
Well, for example, researchers are looking into things like blockchain-based verification and digital watermarking.
Okay, can you explain those to me?
Yeah, sure.
I'm not really that tech savvy.
So basically, blockchain is like a digital ledger.
Okay.
It records every transaction.
And so in the case of media, it can track the origin of like a video or image.
Oh, okay.
And that makes it much harder to like tamper with it.
Got it.
Or create a fake without leaving a trace.
So it's like a history of where that piece of content came from.
Yeah. And watermarking is kind of like embedding a hidden signature within the content.
Okay.
So you can verify its authenticity.
Oh, interesting.
So even if someone tries to make a deep fake, these techniques could potentially expose it.
So it's not perfect.
No, it's not foolproof.
That's a start.
But it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
And along with those technological advances, there's also a growing emphasis on media literacy.
Okay.
So teaching people how to spot deepfakes, how to critically evaluate their sources, and just be more discerning.
Yeah, like giving people the tools to protect themselves.
Yeah.
But we also have to think about like the legal stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
And the ethical stuff.
It's a real minefield.
Yeah, because on the one hand, we have freedom of speech.
Right.
But on the other hand, you've got the potential for harm and defamation and just like undermining people's trust.
It's a tough balance.
So are there laws right now?
Well, some countries are starting to implement legislation.
Okay.
In the U.S., for example, there's the Malicious Deepfake Prohibition Act.
Okay.
And that tries to make it illegal to create or distribute deepfakes if the intent is to deceive or harm someone.
But proving that intent.
Yeah, that's the tricky part.
Could be difficult.
It's really hard to enforce.
Right. And how do you decide, what's a harmless deepfake?
Yeah, where's the line?
Like what's just for fun?
Exactly.
And what's meant to cause harm?
That's the core issue.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the legal stuff. There are ethical dilemmas, too.
Yeah.
I mean, deepfakes could be used for good.
Right.
Like in education or historical preservation.
Yeah.
But the potential for misuse is just so huge.
Right. It's like this powerful tool.
Exactly.
And we're still figuring out how to use it responsibly.
Yeah. And it's not just on the creators.
Okay.
It's also on the platforms that host them.
Right. Like the social media companies and stuff.
Exactly. And ultimately, it's on all of us as individuals.
So it's like a collective responsibility.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've talked about the harms, the technology, the laws, the ethical issues.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It is a lot to process.
Where do we go from here? Like, what does the future hold for deepfakes?
That's a great question. And honestly, it's tough to say for sure.
Yeah.
But I think the future really depends on a few key things. Well, I think first off, the pace of technology. AI keeps getting better. So that means deepfakes will too.
Right. So they'll be harder to spot.
Exactly. But at the same time,
the
technology to detect them is also improving. So it's like a race,
It's like who can stay ahead of the other one.
Yeah. And that kind of brings us to the second big thing.
Okay.
Regulations and laws.
Oh.
Can governments actually make laws to stop the bad uses of deepfakes?
Right.
But without like totally crushing free speech.
Yeah, because we still want people to be able to.
Right, exactly. It's a tough balance.
Make jokes and stuff.
It is. And the outcome of that is going to have a huge impact on how we see and use deepfakes in the future.
That makes sense. I mean, if there are no rules,
right,
then people can just do whatever they want.
And they probably will.
Yeah.
But laws aren't enough. You know?
Oh.
We also need education.
So people understand what's going on.
Yeah, that's the third big thing.
Okay.
Giving people the tools to be smarter about the information they see.
So it's not just about tech or laws.
Right.
It's also about us.
It's about all of us.
Yeah. Okay. So those are the three things.
Uh-huh.
But for our listeners,
right,
what can they do right now?
That's a great question.
To be more aware of this stuff.
Well, it starts with your sources.
Okay.
Like when you see a video online.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, where did this come from? Is it like a news organization?
Right.
Or just some random person?
Yeah, because that makes a big difference.
Huge difference. And look for anything that seems off in the video.
Like what?
Well, deepfakes, even the good ones, usually have some flaws. Like weird blinking or lip movements, or the audio might sound a little strange.
Oh, okay. So like little details.
Exactly. Little clues that something's not right.
Got it.
And don't be afraid to do a little research.
Okay.
If something seems too crazy to be true, it probably is.
Right.
Google it. Or do a reverse image search.
Oh, yeah. Reverse image search is the best.
It's so helpful.
I use it all the time.
And you can also check fact-checking websites.
Right, like Snopes or PolitiFact.
Exactly. They're great at debunking those viral things.
Yeah, they're like mythbusters for the internet.
That's a great way to put it.
So basically, we have to be skeptical.
Yes. Pay attention and check our sources.
Exactly. We can't just assume everything we see is real.
It's like we have to become detectives.
In a way, yeah.
Well, that's what this deep dive has been all about.
Right.
Helping you guys understand deepfakes and how to spot them.
It's about giving you the tools to be more informed.
Exactly. And to think critically about the information you see.
Yeah, it's been a fascinating conversation.
It has. And I think we've only scratched the surface here.
We really have. There's so much more to explore.
Yeah, like we didn't even talk about how deep fakes can be used for like identity theft or scam.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other can of worms.
That's a whole other deep dive.
Definitely. But the main thing to remember is that we all have a part to play in fighting misinformation.
By staying informed.
By staying informed.
Questioning what we see.
Exactly.
And that's what the deep dive is all about.
It is.
Helping you make sense of the world one deep dive at a time.
Until next time, keep learning and keep questioning.
And keep diving deeper.